Welcome to Fist Bump Friday, an interview series that we do here, that I do, I guess. I sit down with people who are passionate about helping others. So at Change Wealth, we look up to folks like Lindsey here. Lindsey McBain is joining us here today. Lindsey is one of the folks that runs an organization called SPARC, which is a sort of division of SEDNet. What would you say?
A service.
A service?
Yeah.
Okay, so SEDNet was... I recently spoke with Sarah in these same chairs, and so SEDNet is the Community Economic Development Network here in Winnipeg, or Sarah represents the Manitoba chapter of a national network, actually, and SPARC is a service of that. So, Lindsey, thank you for joining me here. Tell me about what does SPARC do? What's your background? What's the deal?
Okay, well, so SPARC is a service of SEDNet, as you said, and our job is to meet the needs of nonprofits in the city who are focused on poverty, focused on community development. And the way we do that is by connecting them with expertise that they can't afford otherwise. So that could be professionals who want to volunteer their time, and whether it be evaluation or design or IT or HR, all the things that the nonprofits need to fulfill their missions, but that they may not be able to afford and that they may not have as part of their existing staff team. So our job is to go out and work with those organizations, find out what they need, and then go and recruit the talent so that they can come and meet those needs within the organization.
Yeah. Cool. And how, like, what's the scope of the program? How many organizations do you work with? And like, you have a pool of...
We do.
From what I know, you have a pool of professionals.
Yeah. So we I think that there's... at last count, there was probably 180, 200 organizations that we try and at least meet with or reach out to every year.
Yeah.
And then from that pool, we'll come up with, another 70 or 80 specific projects that we're going to try and execute that our team's going to execute within the year, and get the right talent at the right time. That's our key thing, is that we do short-term, project-specific, skill-specific, pro bono projects with nonprofits.
Yep, awesome. Yeah, that's really cool, because it sounds like, from what I know of the work you do, I mean, a lot of nonprofits kind of come into contact with you guys, and you end up supporting a lot of great work that happens in the city, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. I was thinking of one that we did just recently. So one of the things that nonprofits need to do, and that they enjoy doing, but they have a hard time, sometimes they have a hard time prioritizing, is evaluation. So they're doing this excellent work in the community, they're meeting their social purpose, but that needs to be measured.
Yeah. And
that needs to be checked over time. So we were working with an organization to look at the evaluation that they're doing, and we were able to find somebody, a professional who works in evaluation, who's going to come in and look at all the ways that they evaluate, the points that they evaluate, the questions they ask, how they ask those questions, so that the data that they're getting out of it can be meaningful not only to the funders, but also to the organization itself to help them improve their work.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds awesome. So what brought you to this work? What's your background?
So I started in international development, and this was, I think, I chose that field because, like you, I wanted to find a way to be useful to the world.
Okay.
And I studied that, did some work overseas, but coming back to Winnipeg, you realize that there's lots of needs here in our city that need to be addressed.
Yeah.
There's enough poverty and social issues that we can work on here. I don't have to go anywhere to do that work.
Yeah.
So fortunately, the community economic development world found me, or I found them.
Yeah.
And I was delighted to be able to hopefully do good work in the world right here in Winnipeg.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's I've had that same thought. The fact that, I mean, it's probably no shortage of sort of humanitarian, social, environmental issues we could all sort of apply our energy to globally, but similarly no shortage even here locally. So that's and thank goodness for the sort of strong network of organizations and people who have come to the same conclusion, right? Because I think I don't know. I mean, the more I've learned, the more I realize there's a lot of sort of unsung heroes, even here in the city. So it must be, I don't know, I imagine it's cool for you to basically be supporting so many of those, and not to say that you are, of course, you're one of those unsung heroes yourself. But you come into contact with so many of these people, really, right?
Well, and I should say another thing about the reason this works for me is that. So, given the choice, I would probably choose a totally technical career. I'd be an engineer or something like that. So, I get to work on the specific tangible solutions, designing those solutions with organizations. And so that's another reason that particularly SPARC's operations are such a good fit for me. Yes, I have the social purpose, but for me, I get to actually get in there into the nitty-gritty and design solutions with people.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've probably learned a lot about if you're connecting, say, graphic designers or lawyers or accountants with organizations, with nonprofits, like you probably picked up a fair bit about these fields. And
the amount I've learned about accounting is incredible. I'm in no way qualified, but I am much smarter now than I was. And actually, meeting people like you, I mean, when we first met, the amount that I learned about personal finance and the way that industry functions and the thinking you've done about it, that's another fascinating part of my job. No,
that's cool to hear, and I could see, because I think I'd be like you. I could see that would be the one of the fun things about doing the work that you do, right? You end up getting to be sort of a lifelong learner, even right directly through your work, right?
Yeah, so, a fabulous generalist at this point.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly.
There you go. And talk to me about the volunteers that you end up signing up. Like, how do you find them? And like, I'm just interested to, like, are you having to knock on doors? Are they coming to you? What's your experience in engaging new professionals?
Okay, so I'll tell you an interesting story about how that changed.
Yeah, sure.
So initially, when SPARC started, this is before, I guess this could be 15 years ago, but the idea was that we would go out and we would get companies and individual experts to give us a blank check and say, this year I'm going to contribute 50 hours pro bono, and then we, SPARC, are going to call you when we have an assignment that fits with you. But it doesn't, this is the problem, is that's like promising for the future that you will make this contribution. All of us are actually almost too busy for that model. So we don't ask for a commitment ahead of time now, because we have enough of a roster of qualified people that we can go to when we need them. And so I will have Project X, let's say somebody who needs some coaching on business development or a bit business planning, right? They're not someone to write the business plan, but someone who's going to oversee and mentor somebody as an organization works on that. Rather than demanding that person come in and work on the project, I have enough people that I can go to and I can ask them to would you like to come and work on this? And if they're interested and if they're available, then they can come to it. But if they're not, that's okay. So when we first bring together organizations and volunteers, it's our official no obligation first meeting. It's a chance for our volunteers to scope out and explore the project with the organization first before they sign up for anything. So that's the change, and that's if you want something done, ask a busy person. And we have many excellent busy people on our roster who we can go to when we need to. That said, we actually have more and more people coming to us. So yes, I go out and I'm happy to meet with companies and recruit from within their staff team. I'm always meeting with new individuals that I've sought out, but a couple times every week, new people come to us. And they're saying, I'm a Winnipegger, I have this skill set, and I want to figure out a way to give back to my community.
So why is that? That's actually going to be my next question. Why do people come to these volunteers? What compels them?
A couple of reasons. One is something that I think you and I have talked about before. People have an excellent skill set, but they're not. They're practicing it within a limited way within their current job. And they want to expand that. They want to practice it in new ways. They want to find new opportunities to do what they do, whether that's in HR or IT or evaluation or design. And they want to find a new way to do it, a new place to do it, new context. But people are also seeing that they can do good with the skills that they have. And often, let's say 70% of the people that come to us, it's almost pure altruism. they really genuinely love the city. They see that there's issues that need to be addressed, and they're like, "What can I do?" Well, okay, well, we at Spark will find you something to do.
See, the issue I always it's interesting you brought up altruism. I find that an interesting topic because I almost would argue. No, I do argue. I've said this before. I think that there's no such thing as altruism because you want to give of yourself, and you're getting something out of it. Like so, this I think it's an important thing to acknowledge. Is that I think we're saying the same thing, but I just pointing out that I do believe people are doing it because they get something out of it themselves, right? So
absolutely. If I look at the evaluation that we do once we've completed a project, generally what we see is people are get a tremendous amount of satisfaction from doing this work for a good social purpose, for an organization that's dealing with some of the most complex and challenging issues in our city. The chance to make a contribution to that is very, very rewarding. So yes, there's the self-interest of altruism is certainly there.
Right, and it's there. And
that's the delight for all of us, right?
Bingo, yeah. And I think it's a kind of a wonderful thing to acknowledge, right? So where can the fine folks find you? I didn't actually prep you for this, but I'm going to give you the chance to plug whatever you'd like to plug. Where can they find information about Spark, SetNet, your any other your pursuits, I guess, that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, so you can find us at SparkWPG.ca. So that's our website. What you'll find there, in addition to our process and criteria, is our blog where we profile the work we've done and the projects that we've been managed to implement. So if you want some sort of practical examples of what we do in the field, go read our blogs. You can find that same content on our LinkedIn, and you can find that links to the project profiles on our Facebook page.
Very cool.
We have yet to be as good as you at social media, but we're working on it.
Good, yeah. Good is a strong word for to describe what I've done. But I think the important point is that there are so many interesting stories to tell, and it's cool that whether it's through social media or you're saying you guys write stories, blog posts about some of these things that go on in the city every day, and it's as I've gotten to learn more about it, it's been pretty eye-opening in that it's honestly changed my perspective a little bit on people in general. I just think there is a lot more good news and a lot more people focused on genuinely doing good work than we may even realize, even in our own city. You know what I mean? So
and I think that's a point that you made earlier. Like if we can present people with the opportunity to do good, whether it's as consumers and the businesses that they interact with, making sure that those are ethical, that they maybe even have a dedicated social purpose, or in the case of Spark, if I can say to you, look, you've got 20 hours that you can give back with your skill set to address some of the social issues in our city, people are delighted to take advantage of that opportunity. And it's Spark's job to find the right opportunity at the right time so that we can bring together the organizations and the citizens of our city.
That's awesome. I love it. And couldn't have said it better myself. So please do check out Spark's website and read about the good work that goes on in the city. If you have any interest in getting involved or it's appropriate, please reach out to Lindsey. Friendly guy, doesn't bite from what I can tell. And, well, we won't... Who knows? It's not verified, but don't quote me on it. And the last thing I also didn't prep you for is that in coming into the Fist Bump studio, I need to engage you in a fist bump. So kudos on the work that you do. Thank you, and thanks for joining me here today.
Thank you very much.